Part 3 of our Prince series. This is Warner Brothers, Universal, Snakes. So let me get this right, because I'm trying to understand, Warner Brothers. You felt that you were entitled to this man's music, putting this man in a bind. How do you feel you're entitled to his music when this man played instruments on his own albums, wrote music on his own albums and performed it? How do you feel you're entitled to that? You felt like you had to have the rights to his catalog. So this forced him to play renegade and come right. This forced him to give up that name, Prince, and change his name to that logo. Y'all forced this man to give up his name and the brand that he built in order to retrieve the career that he has already had and that he had already established. So he quits. And y'all realize y'all were losing money. I forgot to put the numbers in here. But what y'all realized, y'all were losing money because artists like Madonna and others that you had on the label were not making albums no more, or not making hits anymore. So you sneak him back to the table to tell him, you all of a sudden, we were wrong and we want to give you your masters back. That was the way in 2014. When you knew this man had been fighting for his masters ever since that Purple Rain album came out. You also knew the influence that he had on younger artists, them looking at Prince as the oracle of music, even once telling. He told Nas one time, Nas wanted to work with him. He told Nas, he asked him, do you own your masters? Because if you don't, I won't work with you. And in a quote, he says, because if you don't own your masters, the masters will own you. What I'm curious to know is, after he pulls his music from these cheating apps like Spotify and iTunes, he goes and puts his music on Tidal, which is owned by Jay-Z. Not passing judgment, but I'm trying to understand, why does this dude have his hand in everything like that? He snapped on all these streaming services, even retweeting the sentiments of Taylor Swift and her stance against places like Spotify, where they seem to pay the artists nothing, but Joe Rogan, no disrespect, can get a $250 million deal, and he's not even an artist, just a podcast. Come on. Now he got his masters back. But that isn't what you wanted, was it? You wanted his unpublished music. The music that was in his vault that has never been heard. This man had so much music in his vault to the point to where he could release an album, one album every year for the next 100 plus years. That wasn't even really known about how much music he had until he made one mistake in 2014, and you can go look this up. He went on the ArsenioHall show, my favorite talk show host, and ArsenioHall asked him a question that he did not want to answer. And he asked him, how much unheard music do you have stored away in your vault? Why would he ask him that? If you look at the interview, you see Prince doesn't even want to answer that. Somebody pushed Arsenio to ask him that question, because the first person that called Arsenio when he got his talk show back was Prince. That makes me go, I'm going to leave it right here. Part 4 coming next. Final part. like, share, comment, repost. But before we do that, you think those people at Warner Brothers weren't listening to this whole interview?